Good day, dear students. Welcome to Practical Research 1 online class. This recording is intended for Quarter 1 Module 1 entitled Nature of Inquiry and Research. Specifically, this video focuses on the lessons, the importance of research in daily life, and the characteristics, processes, and ethics of research. So we'll only focus in these first two lessons in Module 1. Now, in your everyday life, you and me, all of us, have encountered various problems in any facets or sides of life, be it social, political, environmental, and personal. Now, as a learner, how can you find a solution to these problems that is based on knowledge, not only on ordinary beliefs, predictions, or theories? How can you find solution to it as a learner when you encounter those problems? Now, you need to have this knowledge through organized and well-planned procedures that are accurate and useful. Thus, you need to do a research. Okay. Now, for us to make a solution that is well organized and well planned, we need to do our research. Now, what is research, by the way? So, research, by definition, is defined as the scientific investigation of phenomena. Okay? Scientific investigation. When we say phenomena, a fact or situation that is observed or exists, or a problem that happened in our day-to-day living, especially one whose cause or explanation is in question. So it is a scientific investigation of an existing problem, right? Second, the quality of man's life is improved through research, making it easier and valuable from simple to modern, right? Now, all the things, or most of the things we had at home are products of research. What we are using, our cell phones, our laptops, okay, even our appliances at home are products of research. And true enough, it makes our life easier and it gives quality to man's life. It helps us do our chores at home easier. Okay? Another, research develops you to an attitude to not believe everything easily available and seek for truth. Now, with the advent of technology, especially in Facebook, there are a lot of fake news. Whether we like it or not, there are a lot of fake news spreading online. That is why we should not believe it easily. And we must do research to develop an attitude of not believing right away. Okay? Research sharpens our mind to give a judicious vision to look. Okay? When we say judicious, it is done with good judgment. Now, with the research, it sharpens our mind to be keen observant, okay, and to be a good judge, on the things that we see, especially online. Research is a catalyst in solving complex issues in different sectors, including health, communications, business, and environment. Okay. As we all know, we are in the pandemic, right? We are experiencing pandemic, and the vaccines, the medicines that were discovered, to cure this disease is done or is discovered through research. That is why it helps a lot, especially right now in the health sector. Research also is a process of inquiry. It is asking what you know and think. Okay? Of course, when we have question in mind, we do research. Discover the nature of inquiry, since it is connected to the word research. inquiry is seeking for truth, information, or knowledge. Okay, so if you have question in mind, you seek for truth, or you ask for information, or to gain knowledge. The information and data pursued through questioning begins with gathering by applying the different human senses. Of course, we cannot ask question if we do not use our senses. Okay, we should open our mouth. No, we should listen by using our ears. So those senses, human senses, are used when asking for questions. And word inquiry is synonymous with the word investigation. Now, when we say investigation, it has deeper meaning compared to inquiry. It is a systematic examination of a certain event or phenomenon. While immersion is a process whereby a researcher immerses or involving himself in the data gathering activities, and the data he has gathered is carefully read or examined by him in detail. So when we say inquiry, okay, it is a sort of asking for truth, information, or knowledge. And then when we say investigation, it has a deeper meaning to the word inquiry. Why? Because it involves systematic examination. When we say systematic examination, it involves a process. Okay? Now when we say immersion, okay, it has a deeper meaning among those two words, inquiry and investigation. Because when we say immersion, you are deeply involving yourself in the conduct of your research. Okay, so as a researcher, you have to be involved. Okay, you have to be involved in doing your research. Do not be a passive researcher. Okay, do not depend on your leaders. Okay, so you have to involve yourself, because at the end of the day, it is you who will be learning. Okay, it is you who will answer your panelist question. Okay, by the time you already have your defense. All right. Guiding the idea of inquiry, investigation, and immersion, the concept of research comes in. All right. So the word research pala involves these three words: inquiry, investigation, and immersion. All right. Why are we conducting research? We have three purposes why we do research as a whole. In general, we have these three purposes. First one is to inform action. Second, to prove or generate a theory. And three, to augment or increase knowledge in the field of study. Right? Now, let us get away from the idea that research is making our life difficult as a student. No, but it on the other hand, it gives you, it adds to your knowledge. Okay, because yun nga, as I've said kanina, you have to immerse yourself, because it is for your own benefit. You will be learning from it. Okay, by indulging yourself in the conduct of your research, it will increase your knowledge. Importance of research in our daily life. Number one, it directs us to inquire about the right information by conducting further investigation of the actual condition. Okay, so right information, to inquire for the right information. That is why you have let us not be gullible. Okay, when we say gullible, yung madaling maoto. Okay, so how do we get away from that? We have to research, especially as I've said kanina, yung mga information na nandiyan dyan sa ating mga social media. Okay? Research empowers us with knowledge and discovers new things and issues in our life. Okay? So it empowers our knowledge. Okay? How do we add to our knowledge? Through discovering new things and issues in life, because by that we are learning, and when we are learning, we can apply it into our life. Okay, So by the time that it happens again, we will not be doing the same action. Okay? And research also facilitates learning as an opportunity to share valuable information to others as a way of recognizing various concerns for public awareness. So after doing your research, it will not just end in the four corners of your classroom. Your paper will not just be put inside the library, but on the bigger picture, your research might become a tool for public awareness. Okay? Because might be your research problem, yung research ninyo na topic or na problem is very useful, especially sa school setting, Pwede yan siyang i-adapt ng ating guidance office, Doon siya mag-base sa kanyang program, gagawa niya ng program or the school itself, So, do not just think of research as a burden, okay? Think of it as add on to the knowledge that is already add on to the solution of the problems existing in our society, okay? Right. Let's move on to the characteristics of research. So the first characteristic of research is empirical. Okay? When we say empirical, this means in research is based on direct experience or observation by the researcher. So in qualitative research class, all your data coming from the participants. Okay? That is what is meant by the word empirical. So it should be based on direct experience or observation by the researcher. You should not add something based on your emotions, based on your ideas. Okay? So when we say empirical, it should be observed, it should be seen by the researcher. Okay? And it can be verified by experience or observation, experienced by your participants. Second, logical. Research is based on valid procedures and principles. Okay? When we say logical, it means clear or sound reasoning or natural or sensible. Okay? So your research should follow certain procedures. Okay? So do not just conduct research without you following the procedure kasi meron tayong gabay na mga procedure and it will be discussed as we proceed to our next part of the research. Next characteristic of research is cyclical. Okay? So research is a cyclical process because it starts with a problem and ends with a problem. Alright? So when we say cyclical, it is synonymous to the word cycle. So paulit-ulit lang siya. Okay? Number 4, analytical. Okay? When we say analytical, it is synonymous to the word systematic or logical. So research utilizes proven analytical procedures in gathering data, whether historical, descriptive, and experimental and case study. So again, it follows a certain procedure. The fifth one is critical. So research exhibits careful and precise judgment. Okay? So when we say critical, it involves objective analysis, right? Now, careful and precise judgment. So your judgment as a researcher, okay, because in qualitative research, you will be the one who will analyze the data being gathered, right? Now, you have to be objective in analyzing the information that came from your participants. You have to really be critical in, especially in coming up with your themes. Okay? So you'll understand those things as we move along with our discussion. Sixth one is methodical. Now, research is conducted in a methodical manner. Okay? From the word method. Without bias, using systematic method and procedures. This is synonymous to the word logical kanina. So you have to follow methods or procedures. Number 7, replicability. Okay, this is one character of research wherein the research design and procedures are replicated or repeated to enable the researcher to arrive at valid and conclusive results. For research design, you only have two, qualitative and quantitative. So it can be replicated. When we say replicated, it can be produced or copied from another research research design, but make sure that you do not have the same participants, because you will yield into the same results if you have the same participants. So you have to choose different participants. Okay, let's move along to the 7 types of research process. Now we have, as I have said kanina, research is methodical, logical. Now this is what I meant by those terms. Kasi we have to follow process in conducting research. So the first one is for you to define and develop your topic. Okay, so that's the very first thing that you have to do. Identify first, look first for a problem. How will you do this? Okay, so you have to consider these factors in selecting a research problem. Number 1, researcher's area of interest. Okay, make sure that the problem you have chosen is within your area of interest. Okay, dapat interesado ka sa topic mo. Kasi kapag hindi ka interesado, mawawalan ka ng gana na i-conduct ang research na yan or tapusin ang research na yan. Second, availability of funds. Okay. Then, investigators' ability and training. Of course, you have to equip yourselves first with the facts about research, and especially the process of conducting research, before you indulge yourself in proper. Kasi how will you, parang sasaba ka ng gera, paano ka lalaban kung wala kang weapon? So same with research, ganun din. So you have to train yourself or equip yourself with the knowledge needed for the conduct of research. Step 2, find background information about your chosen topic. This refers to the review of related literature, or the famous term RRL. Okay, I don't know if you have already heard this, pero this is found in chapter 2. Okay, mind you, these are all research studies, research articles from different authors. So you really have to read a lot of research studies and articles, okay, so that you can sufficiently give information or RRL in your chapter 2. Step 3, plan your research design, including your sample or methodology. This refers to methodology. Dito na sa chapter 3, makikita ang inyong research design. Okay? So, meron man tayong dalawang research design, namely qualitative and quantitative research. But for practical research 1, you will only do qualitative research. So, that is your research design. That should be mentioned in your chapter 3. Okay? Including your sample. When we say sample, yung participants ninyo. But the fourth step is to gather necessary data using open-ended questions for qualitative research and closed-ended question or closed-ended questionnaire or paper pencil test for quantitative research. Actually, this is where you will conduct na your research. You will do interviews, observations, or for quanti, you will now do your survey step. You will now process and analyze data using thematic analysis for qualitative research and statistical tools for quantitative research. Okay? Now, in processing the data for qualitative research, you will use thematic analysis. For quantitative research, rather, you get the help of statistician okay, to come up with your mean, or they have a tool for analyzing the data. For the sixth step, you will now formulate new insights gained. That's for qualitative research, or conclusions for quantitative research, and recommendation. So I think this is found in chapter 4 or 5. And for the last step is for you to define a new problem or develop a theory. Now, in conducting research, we also have to follow the what we call research ethics. Okay? So what is research ethics, by the way? So these are guidelines for the responsible conduct of research, which educates and monitors researchers to ensure high standard. Okay? So these are guidelines for a responsible conduct of your research. It promotes the aim of research, such as expanding knowledge, and supports the values required for collaborative work, such as mutual respect and fairness. Okay. Ethical considerations in conducting research. The first one, objectivity and integrity. Right. Second, respect of the research subjects' right to privacy and dignity, and protection of subjects from personal harm. So in research class, there is no need for you to divulge, no, especially the names of your participants, because that's one way of following the ethics in research. You have to keep their information private, especially if you are researching about a very confidential problem. The third one is presentation of research findings. Okay? In presenting your research findings, we have to, as I've said kanina, there is no need for you to divulge the names, okay, of your participants. We have to protect them. Misuse of research role, okay, because as a researcher, we have our individual roles. Okay, you will know that as the discussion continues. Acknowledgement of research collaboration and assistance. All right, so we have to acknowledge those researches that you have lifted, you have used, and also those people that are involved, in the success of your research. Then, distortions of findings by sponsors. It is not allowed that somebody will interrupt or interfere the findings you have the result you have discovered, okay, especially if it's for their own benefit, for the sponsor's benefit. But in practical research, I have not experienced yet someone who have distorted their findings coming from the outside, the people who are not involved in the research, okay, and that is against the research ethics. Hindi po pwede yan. Now, what are these ethics in research? Alright? Isa-isahin natin yung mga ethics in research. Number one, first and foremost, you have to secure this one before interviewing your participants. Call this informed consent form or informed consent. Ano po ba ito? This is required to secure in order to protect the rights of the participants in your study. Okay? Inform your participants about the criteria set for choosing them as participants or informants, and the schedule of one-on-one interview at the convenient time they are available. Participation to the study will be completely voluntary. Second is honesty. Okay? It report data, results, methods, and procedures, and publication status. Okay? When we say honesty in research, you should not fabricate information, falsify, and misrepresent data. And objectivity, na-mention na to kanina, avoid bias in experimental design, data analysis, data interpretation, peer review, personnel decisions, grant writing, expert testimony, and other aspect of research. So, avoid biases. As I've said kanina, yung kung ano yung kung ano yung binigay ng participants, doon lang kayo kumuha ng inyong results. Then, integrity. Keep your promises and agreements. Act with sincerity. Strive for consistency of thought and action. Okay? So, if you promise your participants na kami sasabihin yung pangalan po ninyo at saka i-keep namin private yung mga information ng binigay ninyo. So, you have to keep that promise kasi that will measure your integrity. If kung ano yung narinig mo sa kanya, shinare mo sa ibang tao, you should only the researcher should know what has transpired during the interview. Huwag na sanang lumabas sa iba pang tao. So, kayo lang dapat ang nakakaalam. Then, carefulness. Avoid careless errors and negligence. Carefully and critically examine your work and the work of peers. Keep good records of research activities. Alright. So, that is why research is being given to you as a group, because they said 2 heads are better than 1. So that is why we have to avoid carelessness and negligence. Moving on, number 6, openness. Share data, results, ideas, tools, and resources. Be open to criticism and new ideas, especially during your defense. You have to be open to the suggestions of your panels. We have to be open to their add-on knowledge for their corrections, because that is for the betterment of your research paper naman. So, wag tayo maging close-minded during the defense, especially. Okay? Number 7, respect for intellectual property. When we say patents, this refers to rights, copyrights, trademarks, trade secrets, and other forms of intellectual property. Do not use published or unpublished data, methods, or results without permission. Credit where credit is due. Never plagiarize, fabricate, and falsify. Alright, how can you respect the intellectual property of the authors? So, you have to cite them. Okay? You have to cite them in your research. Number 8, confidentiality. This means protect confidential communication such as papers or grants submitted for publication, personal records, trade or military secrets, and patient records. The information shared by your participants. Kasi confidential yan. Number 9, responsible mentoring. So help to educate, mentor, and advise others. Promote their welfare and allow them to make their own decisions. So you have to be willing to be mentored, no? As your teachers, as those who have experience, no, doing the research, so that you will be equipped, so that you will widen your knowledge in this discipline. Number 10, responsible publication. Publish in order to advance research and scholarship, not to advance your own career. Avoid wasteful and duplicative publication. Then, respect for colleagues. Respect your colleagues' opinion, treat them fairly, and do not outsmart others. Okay. So, social responsibility. Strive to promote social acceptance and prevent or mitigate social harms through research, public education, and advocacy. Non-discrimination. Avoid discrimination against colleagues or students on the basis of sex, race, ethnicity, or other factors that are not related to their scientific competence and integrity. Number 14, competence. Maintain and improve your own professional competence and expertise through lifelong education and learning. Take steps to promote competence in science as a whole. Consider this is a lifelong education, because when you already know how to conduct research and the things about research, okay, that's a lifelong learning na. Kasi you can use that one when you go to college and even when you go to your master's or doctorate degree. 15, legality. Know and obey relevant laws and institutional and government policies. Okay? So we have to always observe this, not just in research, but in other aspects of our lives. Kasi we are governed by laws and regulation. Then, number 16, animal care, human subjects protection. When conducting a research on human subjects, minimize harms and risks and maximize benefits. Respect human dignity, privacy, and anonymity. The rights of each research participants. Human rights. They are moral principles or norms that describe certain standards of human behavior and are regularly protected as natural and legal rights. Okay? They constitute a set of rights and duties necessary for the protection of human dignity inherent to all human beings. So remember this, that each participant, including you as a researcher, we all have or we are all protected by these human rights. And we have to acknowledge that. Second right of a participant is intellectual property. It protects creations of the mind which have both a moral and commercial value. Okay? Participants has also an intellectual property rights. Then copyright infringement. I guess you're all familiar with this, no? Especially sa Facebook. If you have posted a music and then it is being copyrighted, no? So in research, meron ding tayong ganyan. It is the use or production of copyright protected material without permission of the copyright holder. Copyright infringement means that the rights accorded to the copyright holder, such as the exclusive use of a work for a set period of time, are breached by a third party. So examples of copyright infringement is downloading music, movies without proper payment for use, recording movies in a theater, using others' photographs for a blog without permission, copying software code without giving proper credit, and creating videos with unlicensed music clips. Fourth one, voluntary participation. As I've said kanina, research participants should not be coerced to participate in your research. They should be voluntarily selected or voluntary dapat yung participation nila. So, people must not coerce o hindi dapat pinipilit into participating in research process. Essentially, this means that prospective research participants must be informed about the procedures and risks involved in research and must give their consent to participate. So dapat aware sila kung saan yung research, bakit sila participants, and gagamitin, no, yung mga information that will be coming from them. So they have to understand that before participating in your interview. Anonymity, from the word anonymous. It is the protection of people's identity through not disclosing their names or not exposing their identity. It is a situation in data gathering activities in which informant's name is not given or known. So in research, meron tayong tinatawag na mga aliases or mga alias. So, bigyan natin sila ng mga alias or code names, no, when they will be mentioned in your research paper. That's how you will maintain their anonymity. Then, privacy. It is someone's right to keep his personal matters and relationship secret. It is the ability of an individual to seclude him from disturbance of any research activity. Okay, we have to respect also privacy. Then, for the last topic is ethical standards in research writing. Okay, meron din tayong ethical standard when writing na our research. So, research misconduct includes fabrication, falsification, or plagiarism. It doesn't include honest error or differences of opinion. Take note ha, it doesn't include honest error. So, dapat aware talaga tayo kung ano yung mga sinusulat natin sa papel natin. It can erode trust between researchers and funding agencies, which make it more difficult for colleagues at the same institution to receive grants. And plagiarism is the act of using another person's ideas, works, processes, and results without giving due credit. Okay? Parang synonymous lang ni sila sa copyright infringement, no? It should not be tolerated as the unauthorized use of original works, a violation of intellectual property rights. These different acts are considered plagiarism. The following: number 1, failure to cite quotations and borrowed ideas, failure to include borrowed language in quotation marks, and failure to put summaries and paraphrases in own words. So, as I've said kanina, you have to paraphrase, no, the words lifted from the different authors you have mentioned in your paper. Okay, so do you have any questions? Okay, I hope you have understand our lesson. Okay, if none, let us answer. I want you to answer these questions. Number 1, how do you characterize good research writing? What is the importance of following the ethical standards in conducting a research? Your answer, just submit it in our Google Classroom or submit it during the collection of your modules. Now, to end this discussion, let me leave you a Bible verse, Matthew 7:8. For everyone who asks receives, and he who seeks finds, and to him who knocks it will be open. So God has promised this in Matthew 7:8, that whoever asks, whoever seeks, and whoever knocks in his name, it will be given unto them. He will receive, he will find, and he will be the door for him will be open. So do not say that you cannot do this because others have done, and why can't you? So yon, God has promised these lines for you. Okay, so ask your mentors, ask your teachers, no, if you have any confusions, and seek for new information. You research informations now are very available online, and to him who knocks, it will be open. Right? So that would be all for this discussion. Thank you for listening, and goodbye everyone. Have a nice day.